The nomads of Asia seared themselves into the hearts and minds of contemporary peoples, but all of them owed their legacy to the original nomads, the Scythians. A few things to clear up about the Scythians before starting this episode. First of all, the term Scythians is often used to describe all of the ancient nomadic tribes living in the Pontic steppe. These tribes were loosely related to each other, but were distinct entities. One of these tribes was also called the Scythians, sometimes called the Classic Scythians. The Scythian cultures were also of Iranian descent, which basically means that they were related to the Persians. With all that cleared up, let's dive into the facts. The Scythians inhabited an area of land known as the Pontic steppe. Large plains of lush grass and few trees made a perfect habitat for horse-riding nomads. The Scythian cultures as a whole began to emerge around the 10th century BC. They occupied a massive area, spanning from the Altai Mountains in the east to the Dnieper River in the west. As mentioned previously, the Scythian tribes were not consolidated at all, and only had linguistic and cultural similarities. The Saka and the Masagatai inhabited the east, and the Scythians proper inhabited the west. These tribes played crucial roles in the kingdoms of the Middle East. In the 7th century BC, they crossed the Caucasus Mountains, conquering the kingdom of Urartu and Assyria, even going so far as to strike Egypt, an attack that secured the Scythians and a large amount of tribute. Scythian mercenaries often served in the Persian army, though they were by no means friends. The founder of the Persian Empire, Cyrus, was killed in a battle against the Masagatai. The Scythians' hit-and-run tactics and scorched-earth policies made it impossible for the sedentary peoples to do anything about their raids. As the centuries progressed, the Scythians became heavily involved with the Greeks, mostly through the Bosporan Kingdom, a Greek colony on the southern portion of Crimea. Here, the Scythians traded with the Greeks and were introduced to Greek art and culture. The Greek historian Herodotus also provides most of the information we have about the Scythians. In terms of their own art, the Scythians were skilled metalworkers, producing numerous artifacts that have survived in Scythian burial chambers. Another interesting thing to note about the Scythians were their women. Scythian women were renowned for their strength and would often fight alongside men. Scythian women also enjoyed more rights and privileges than the women of civilized cultures did. Now that we are done discussing the broader Scythian cultures, let's discuss the Scythians proper. These Scythians migrated to what is now Ukraine between the 8th and 6th centuries BC, displacing another nomadic people known as the Cimmerians. Here, the Scythians established a thriving trade with the Greeks. In fact, the Greek city of Athens had a police force made up of Scythian mercenaries, though the historicity of this is disputed. In the 5th century BC, King Darius of Persia invaded Scythia. Persian sources say that Darius won, while Greek sources state that the Scythians won. In the 4th century BC, the Scythians, under the command of a powerful king named Aetius, invaded Macedonia. However, the king of the Macedonians at this time was Philip II, father of Alexander the Great, and he was more than a match for Aetius, who was killed, and the Scythians under his command then dispersed. By the 3rd century BC, the Scythians were replaced by another nomadic people called the Sarmatians. The Scythians fled to Crimea, where they formed the kingdom of Scythia Minor. By the 1st century BC, the Scythians had been assimilated into the Sarmatians. The Scythian cultures were the first horse lords and would set the foundation of numerous influential empires for centuries to come. Today, their legacy lives on in the form of the Ossetians, who were direct descendants of the Alans, who were part of the Scytho-Sarmatian cultures themselves. Now, the Scythians are a very broad topic, so let me know in the comments if you want a part 2 to this video. And as always, credit to these people for some of the images shown here.